Good day everyone, we are the Group 5. I am Kathleen Ann Batarilan and today we'll be discussing the Human Relations Management Theory. This theory is one of the most important milestones in management history because it focuses on the human side of work, how social relationships and positive treatment can increase employees' motivation and productivity. Next slide. The Human Relations Management Theory is part of early organizational psychology. It suggests that employees work better when they feel valued as individuals, not just as workers. The theory highlights that positive social bonds, participation, and good working conditions can improve morale and productivity in any organization. So, before this theory existed, management was dominated by classical theories which focus mainly on efficiency, control, and hierarchy. These three examples was already discussed by the other groups, and we will have a short recap with these classical theories. So, the first one was the scientific management by Frederick Taylor. It emphasizes working in the most efficient way possible. The next one is Max Weber's bureaucratic management, which focus on strict rules and structures. And the last one is Henry Fayol's administrative management, centered on planning, organizing, and control. Now, we are on the birth of the human relations theory. The human relations movement started around 1920s to 1930s during a time when companies were becoming more industrialized. Workers were often treated as mere tools for production. They worked long hours with little recognition. These all began to change with the Hawthorne studies conducted from 1924 to 1932 at the Western Electric Hawthorne plant in Chicago. The studies were led by Alton Mayo, a professor at Harvard University, along with his colleagues Fritz and William Dixon. The researchers wanted to find out if physical conditions like better lighting or shorter work hours would make workers more productive. Surprisingly, productivity increased no matter what changes were made. The conclusion was that it wasn't the lighting or rest periods that made the difference. It was the attention workers received. When workers felt valued, observed, and included, they become more motivated. This phenomenon became known as the Hawthorne effect, the idea that people improve their behavior or performance when they know they are being observed. So, kinsa man sad ang ganahan magtrabaho sa usa ka company nga dili ma-appreciate imong value, di ba? So, dapat as someone nga nag-hold og higher place sa company, mo take time jud to build healthy and good relationships sa other workers. The next one was the development of this theory. So, during 1930s to 1950s, other management thinkers built on Milton Mayo's work. Two of the most important contributors were Mary Parker Foley and Chester Barnard. Mary Parker Foley, often called as the mother of modern management, introduced ideas far ahead of her time. She believed that effective management is not about commanding people, but about working with them. She promoted participative management, where employees have a voice in decision making. She also emphasized the concept of power with instead of power over, meaning leaders should also collaborate rather than dominate. Meanwhile, Chester Barnard focused on the informal organization, which refers to the social relationships and communication networks that naturally form among employees. He observed that informal relationships influence productivity just as much as formal rules do. Barnard also stressed that communication, cooperation, and leadership built on trust are essential for a successful organization. That's why some companies hold team building activities to improve cooperation, communication, and coordination among employees. Others also host outdoor team challenges to build trust and strengthen relationship. So, sa kadugayan, tungod sa na-over na sa trust and communication, kay nag-aoyab na sila. So, kidding aside, the next part was the expansion of this theory. So, in the 1950s through 1970s, the human relations approach evolved even further with the rise of motivation theories. One of major figure during this time was Abraham Maslow, who proposed the hierarchy of needs in 1943. So Maslow said that human behavior is driven by a series of needs arranged in a pyramid. From the bottom up, these are the physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization. So, in physiological needs, it includes food, water, shelter, and rest. And the next one, for safety needs, it includes job security and stability. Third, for social needs, friendships, belongingness, teamwork. Fourth, esteem needs, recognition, respect, and self-worth. And the last one is the self-actualization, achieving one's full potential. So, in this case, naakay work. Yes, naakay work. Yeah. Pero, paying minimum wage siya, but pinatyanay ang iyang trabaho. Pero, ang catch niya kay regular na kadira. So, but, sa kadugay yun kanang, minimum wage lang gani ka. Imong pay nimo kay igura para lang pambayad sa imong mga bills. Nya inig-uli pa jud nimo, diretso lang kakatug kay dili makatalong ay gamay ra ang imong rest kay pinatyan na yung trabaho. So, imong choice ana kay muhawa lang jud ka sa work kay gamay gani ang sweldo. Nya pinatyan na ang trabaho, wala pa kay tulog. Nya dili pa makapay sa imong bills. Igo ra makapay sa imong bills. So, muhawa jud ka bisan pag himuon ka nila og regular. So, the next one, in the late 1950s, Friedrich Herzberg developed the two-factor theory, also known as the motivation hygiene theory. He wanted to find out what truly makes people satisfied or dissatisfied at work. Through his research, Herzberg discovered two kinds of factors. It is the hygiene factors and the motivators. Hygiene factors includes salary, company policies, supervision, and working condition. When these are poor, employees become dissatisfied. But even when they are good, they don't necessarily motivate people to work harder. The second one is the motivators. These are the real sources of satisfaction, such as achievement, recognition, the nature of the work itself, responsibility, and the personal growth. These factors encourage people to do their best and feel fulfilled in their roles. For example, an employee might stay in a job because of good pay and benefits, which is a hygiene. But they'll only excel if they feel challenged and appreciated, which is motivators. This theory reminded managers that satisfaction and dissatisfactions are not opposites, but they must be managed separately. The last one was the Douglas McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y. In the 1960s, Douglas McGregor, a management professor at MIT, introduced Theory X and Theory Y, two contrasting views on human nature and work. In Theory X, assumes that most employees dislike work, avoid responsibilities, and must be closely supervised or threatened to perform. Managers who believe in Theory X tend to be strict, controlling, and authoritarian. In Theory Y, on the other hand, assumes that employees find satisfaction in work, seek responsibility, and are motivated by opportunities for growth. Managers with this mindset tend to be supportive, participative, and empowering. McGregor believed that a manager's assumption directly affect their leadership style and employees' behavior. If you treat employees as lazy and untrustworthy, they often become disengaged. But if you trust them and give them ownership, like Fury Y, they became more responsible and motivated. This theory taught organizations that how you view your people shapes how they perform, and that effective leaders believe in the potential of their employees. In the next slide, we will have Sunshine May Villaver to discuss about the 5 essential human relation skills.
So next, I'll be talking about the key human relations skills. These skills helps managers build a positive and productive workplace culture where employees feel valued and motivated. Like for example, na here kay communication. Communication is about the ability to share ideas clearly and listen actively. Like for example, imong manager kay ga-listen sa ninyo tanan employees concerned and gives clear instructions, meaning ma-avoid yun ang mga misunderstandings ana because your manager knows how to communicate well. Then the next kay empathy. This is about understanding and caring about others' feelings. Like for example, himo manager na po notices that kamo mga employees are stressed and siya as a manager kay ga-offer og support and kamo nga employees nga gitagaan og support sa kanang nga manager, of course naamoy na build nga trust towards your manager like that. So next kay collaboration. It's about working well with others to reach common goals. Like for example, sa inyong team sa naman each department kay ilahi-lahi man na, and of course kanang naman ginay team. So here kanang in your team kay you encourage each other so that ma-improve ang inyong creativity and efficiency sa inyong project. And not lastly, then next kay problem solving. Then it's about finding fair and effective solutions to conflicts or challenges. Like for example na pod inyong manager kanang who resolves your team's disagreement calmly and keeps the group focused on their goals. And the last one kay adaptability. This is all about adjusting to changes or new situations quickly. Like for example, like inyong company kay naay policies or tasks nga na change, and ikaw nga employee kay of course if you're flexible, it will help maintain smooth operations. So yeah. Okay, so after that, okay, so now that we've discussed human relations skills, let's move on to findings of human relations management theory. So here makuan gid mo effectiveness sa kanang theory, right? So here kanang it states that nga it improves employees morale and cooperation. It shifted management to focus on people and workplace relationships. Then kanang foundation of modern HR practices. Then worker productivity is influenced by social relationships, recognition, and attention. Informal groups and teamwork affect employee behavior and performance. And lastly, communication and supportive leadership improves morale and efficiency. Okay, next proceed sa core principles and applications sa core applications, and we'll start sa principles. Employees have a social and emotional needs, not just economic ones. Meaning, kita nga workers don't work only for salary because employees also want to feel valued, connected, and respected in our workplace because their emotions and relationships affect how well they perform. Like for example, imagine nga ang employee kay imagine ikaw as an employee, you are paid well but works in a stressful environment where wala maka-appreciate sa imong work or effort, even though with a good salary, you might lose motivation, diba? Kita may work kanang toxic environment sa work, then kanang nakaidagang pet peeves, nakaidagang kaaway, kanang maka-drain ang energy sa mga people around you, diba? So kanang ma-affect with imong emotional well-being o pwede sa physically kay people sometimes can be physically draining man good. And pero if you are supported sa imong mga coworkers, wala kay kaaway dito, wala kay kuan, or kanang supported ka sa imong manager, supervisor, sila ka pasig kanang kasaba, pero of course you will be more motivated and maloyan ka sa company. Maka-think ka nga nice thing nga company to kay kanang ka-workmates nako kay very friendly, and even though na ay mga kanang misunderstandings kay ma-communicate properly kay people are kanang mature and open-minded. So next application, use of team-based work and group decision making. Meaning, organizations apply this by letting employees work in teams and make decisions together instead of just following orders from the top. Kay it encourages cooperation and creativity and shared responsibility. Like for example, sa company kanang na group of engineers nga kanang na-assigned